Since the days of George Washington Cryle, since he was inventing modern surgical procedures and pioneering the use of blood transfusions, Cleveland has been an amazing and revolutionary world center of medical care and research. Indeed, more than half of Ohio's biomedical companies are located in Northeast Ohio. Since 2002, 90 top bioscience companies in this region have collectively attracted $835 million in venture capital funding. And all told, healthcare and the biosciences employ more than 230,000 Clevelanders and Northeast Ohioans. And exciting growth continues with the Cleveland Medical Mart and Convention Center scheduled to break ground in October. The concentration of biomedical assets here, the people, the facilities, the companies, the vision, are one of Ohio's incomparable jewels. And that's why I was so pleased a few weeks ago to officially designate the Cleveland Health and Technology Corridor as one of our charter economic hubs. Thank you. Being named a hub is more than a point of civic pride. It's a proclamation from the state that we stand squarely beside this burgeoning local commitment to bioscience. It's also a promise. It's a promise from the state to provide seed money for planning and development assistance to spur sustained growth. And it's a pledge to work with you to further the connections between this region's research institutions, hospitals, bioscience companies, and the like. The Ohio Hubs of Innovation and Opportunity program reflects our willingness to recognize, celebrate, and build on the different core strengths of our cities. Because as a matter of sound economic policy, we are committed to helping our cities and regions do more of what they do best. You know, I was so proud when the voters of Ohio gave their resounding support to the renewal of the Third Frontier program just recently. And I say that because I've seen firsthand the amazing revolutionary effects of the Third Frontier. It's helped create companies and careers that didn't exist in Ohio or anywhere else just a few years ago. I'll tell you this, there are Third Frontier companies that are literally inventing the cure for rust. And in the process, they are inventing the cure for the Rust Belt. Because that's not who we are, and the voters of Ohio said that loudly and clearly with their vote. Just down the road from where we are today, I had a chance to see the work that they're doing at Quality Electrodynamics. QED is a medical imaging business. They make the parts that allow MRIs to produce exceptional image clarity and allow doctors to diagnose heart ailments and a wide array of other diseases and conditions. This company was born in a Third Frontier facility here in Cleveland. In a few years, it's grown from a Third Frontier funded business incubator into its own R&D and manufacturing complex in Mayfield Village. The staff is doubling in size every 18 months. And last year, QED won the state's Excellence in Exporting Award and earned a place on the Forbes list of America's most promising companies. But let me share with you what was most exciting to me when I visited with the folks at QED. I met a young engineer there. He was raised in this area, but he had been living in Georgia after earning his master's degree at Georgia Tech. He said that he had never imagined staying in Ohio. When he was growing up, he thought he would not be able to do so. But he's come back to Cleveland because of the outstanding opportunity to do cutting-edge work and research in the medical imaging field at QED. And now, he tells me, he can't imagine going anywhere else. I met a woman there who was previously struggling to get enough hours at her old assembly job. Now she's a QED team leader in quality control, and she's thrilled to be doing important work in the medical industry. That's the power of the third frontier, fueling the growth of companies that solve problems for the world and create jobs for Ohioans. QED is just one out of hundreds of startup companies that have been launched in Ohio because of the third frontier. We've seen the effects in health, in advanced materials, in all manner of advanced technologies, including energy. And let me say that amazing and revolutionary things have been happening with energy in this area for well more than a century. It was in the 1870s that Clevelander Charles Brush began his path-breaking research, energy research, with the very modest tools available to him. In fact, his early experiments on developing an electric generator depended upon the power of horses walking on a treadmill. But his work progressed until he had developed a machine that became the basis of commercial electric power generation. Now, Brush also developed the first electric street lights in the world. They were installed first right here in his hometown of Cleveland, Ohio, in 1879. I'm told a crowd of more than 1,000 gathered in the center of this city to see them turned on for the very first time. And within 2 years, Brush's Ohio-made lights were illuminating the streets of cities across the country, cities like Boston and New York and San Francisco. Don't you feel proud? You should. And it was in his backyard in Cleveland that a few years later that Charles Brush built the world's first automatic electricity-generating windmill. Scientific American sent a reporter to Brush's backyard here in Cleveland to document this great achievement. The article on Brush noted, and I quote, "Few have dared to grapple with the challenges of wind power," and then they said Brush had been the first to make use of one of nature's most unruly forces. Brush's windmill is the predecessor of the modern wind turbines that will soon become the nation's first freshwater wind farm off the shores of Cleveland. Thank you. The announcement a few weeks ago that LEEDCO, the Lake Erie Energy Development Corporation, had reached an agreement to deploy 5 wind turbines is a major first step toward their 10-year plan to build the equivalent of a full-scale power plant fueled only by the wind. This is more than a great source of energy. It's a great source of jobs. Because LEEDCO is a community-led initiative to use Lake Erie's wind resources to drive economic development, we will see job creation. Now, in contrast to when Charles Brush first mounted his windmill in his backyard, wind is much more than an unruly force today. It is one of the fastest growing industries and a resource that will transform our energy portfolio. Northeast Ohio has the potential to invent, deploy, and build the technology and components necessary to harvest the wind's energy. This is not wishful thinking. It's the continuation of our heritage as a home of innovation and practicality.